Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, officially known, of course, as your mayor of PHNX, and I am joined by my vice mayor, my co-host, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
Chris Bryant as our cover photo for this show.
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Strange.
I'm spending a lot of money today, Jesse. I am spending money like I am terminally ill. And we're
now we've disappointed everyone because I think we're unveiling that you're the one spending this money, not the Diamondbacks. That's probably not going to happen. But
you're ruining this. You're ruining this from the beginning. Let me get to my fantasies. Let me get to my
all right,
wildest desires and dreams thing. But of course, I have to let everybody know that this podcast is brought to you by the fine folks over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You guys know what time of year it is. It's time for the Super Bowl. And if you are a new customer to DraftKings, you go over to DraftKings Sportsbook app now, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, and you will get 56-1 odds on any team, either the Bengals, yay, or the Rams, boo. And that's a shout out to all of my Rams friends. But bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Jesse, bad news, buddy. Bad news. It looks like my Valentine's Day date of this lockout ending for MLB is definitely in jeopardy because we didn't have very positive news coming out today. In fact, if you want a climate check on how today's meetings went, look no further than first this tweet from Jeff Passan that says the meeting between the Major League Baseball Players Association and MLB is over. Little progress was made. The on-time opening of spring training at this point is in grave danger and frankly would take a miraculous deal coming together to rescue. A delay feels inevitable. And that tweet is bad enough because Jeff Passan is not, I don't feel like he's necessarily a very hyperbolic person. I don't feel like he's somebody that jumps to these kind of conclusions without having a fair amount of information and reason behind it. It's not like he, can say 100% certainty that this deal isn't going to happen, but from everything obviously he's hearing, things are not good right now.
They're not. I don't know if you saw Jeff's follow-up to that tweet. I thought that his tweet in response to his first tweet was kind of amusing. He basically has said the exact same thing every time. Every time there's a meeting between the players and the owners, Jeff Passan tweets out something like what he tweeted today, right? As we, I guess for our listeners on the audio side, we're talking about yesterday. We're talking about Tuesday as we do this here on our live show. But yeah, basically Jeff will tweet out a general description of how the meeting went, which is generally not well. The two sides are far apart, something along those lines. And then he will reply to it and say, no deal is done. And yet that was never an expectation anyway, right? We were never expecting a deal to be done. So
sure.
So he'll kind of say those two things. And that's his little response tweet is like, yes, the conclusion here is we don't have a deal. But then again, we didn't really expect one anyway. And today, Jeff Passan, instead of doing that whole thing, he was basically like, of course, we never would have expected, hell. He said something like, hell, you guys know the drill. We're never, this is never going to go down, right? So yeah, if you go over to his account, you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's just this situation, right? I mean, there's a lot of repetition. It kind of feels like we're going around in circles, like there isn't really any real progress being made in some of these meetings. We know they have another meeting scheduled for later this week, but we're told that they will not discuss the core economic issues in that meeting, which to me just is kind of hilarious. Like, hey, let's have a meeting, but let's not discuss like the things we really need to discuss. Let's just kind of dance around it and talk about some other things.
I have a theory on that. I don't feel like they're making any progress on the core economic structure, right? And so because of that, they're not getting to the rest of the meal that they have to get to. There's other things to negotiate. There's other things to talk about that, to be honest, they probably see more eye to eye on than financial,
Yeah.
and financial
So
things that they're
maybe
much farther
start
apart.
there and then
Or I
hope
mean,
that
just to get
you
something done, right? Because they
yeah.
still at some point have to talk about that. So if they're so far apart right now on the economic structure and how they're going to proceed with arbitration, these years of service, everything like that, which, by the way, again, the players union conceded more on. And it's weird because we're not hearing the same thing from like the owner's side. We're not hearing like, well, the owners today conceded a bit on their, stance on this thing. Like everything you hear as far as details coming back from these meetings is about the players giving up more and more on what they want. And that part of it doesn't seem as much of a negotiation as much as it's just the owners standing firm in this
Yeah.
lockout that they generated, right? The owners are responsible for the lockout, not the players. And they won't be letting the players play again until the players agree to not want the stuff that they want. And that right there just seems like this is a very one-sided negotiation. Again, let's get Scott Boras in there to negotiate for the players. That's what I say. Shout out to Josh Hunt in the comments that finally made it to a live show. We thank you, sir. Welcome to the family, by the way, and happy anniversary. Josh's wife got him an anniversary present, which was a PHNX membership.
Josh is the guy who has who got a D-back shirt, right?
That's right, and he got the D-back shirt.
Okay.
And Josh says, could it be a PR approach to at least have something to tell everyone that they agree on something? And that I also agree would be a positive, right? To have some sort of positive come out of the negotiations as far as where they're at, progress they've made. Hey, they agreed that they're going to implement the universal DH. Like that's some positive news that sounds like in some way they've made some sort of progress, right? And that part of it I could absolutely see with them right now, right? And then there's another tweet from Chelsea Janes, which is even more depressing. MLBPA offered up changes to its pre-arb pool proposal, dropping demand from 105 million to 100, and reduced number of players who would accrue additional service time under the plan to combat service time manipulation per a league official. Sides met for 90 minutes, described as quote unquote heated. Jesse, heated. Were they going to throw punches over arbitration and years of service time? What the hell is going on? And how I think the Players Association changed their request from, I think it was like 10 and 30 years down to like 20 and 7, or like, I'm sorry, not years, but the top WAR that would get that bonus pool. They reduced the bonus pool down so if fewer players would get it instead of the 10 and 30%. It was or top 30 and top 10. It was 7 and 20. Like they're conceding in every way, and it doesn't feel like the owners are meeting them at that halfway point. So much so that we are described as these meetings getting heated, which again, you know how athletes, baseball players are, these guys are like, what does heated mean? And can I get video of it? Can I get video of the meeting being heated?
I think we would all love to be, a fly on the wall in these meetings because
it would get higher ratings than the World Series.
It absolutely would. It absolutely would. And not only that, but this is just kind of a weird situation where reporters do have information about what is discussed. Not many reporters. It's pretty much just Jeff Passan, Evan Drellick. Those are pretty much the only guys that we hear from after these meetings. They're the ones who have all the information. But there's not really a whole lot of information that comes out, right? I think we've all kind of gotten used to these meetings happening and there being a little bit of information that comes out, but usually most reporters are just directing people to the articles they've already written about the situation. Like, hey, go look at that thing I wrote last week. That pretty much all still applies because nothing happened today. Which, I mean, a lot of that is probably just the result of the two sides not getting very far, right? There's just not much to talk about. But I also wonder,
even if you're writing updates, like you and I can both attest to this, it still feels very repetitive if nothing's happened, right? It's like, what information really am I providing from the one that I wrote a week after the lockout happened as to now, right? I mean,
you don't want to just publish stuff just to publish it and have no new information in there.
But But the problem with that is it's kind of an out of sight, out of mind situation at that point. It's easy for there not to be updates. So then it kind of can fall out of the news cycle. And then fans, who are the ones who are truly going to lose out at the end of the day, are the ones that, aren't being updated on this. So it's easy not to get mad about it. It's easy not to start putting some sort of public pressure, some sort of public scrutiny on MLB to get this deal done in some way. Right. And really what that's kind of what they're hoping for. It feels like they're hoping to just wait this out. Like if they wait it out long enough, MLBPA will continue to drop its demands. They'll continue to relent on issues and financial concerns. And eventually they'll just submit to whatever CBA that they, essentially can to get the deal done so that, baseball isn't impacted beyond March and April and May, because once you start getting into that point, holy moly, I don't know what the hell you're doing anymore.
We're getting close to some of those key days, right? I think some of the reporters were talking about today how some of those deadlines, chief among them, of course, is your February 14th deadline. But there are some other ones too, right? Pitchers and catchers are supposed to report within a couple weeks here. That deadline at this point, like you talked about earlier, is basic. I mean, there's just no way. It would take an absolute miracle. So the question now is, can we make some spring training games happen? Can we make opening day happen? I mean, that's really the big one. And I know we've talked a little bit about spring training already and how part of it would still go on, right, with the players that aren't on 40-man rosters. But from what we can tell, it sounds like spring training games, as we know them to be, games that you can attend and buy hot dogs and buy merch and all of that stuff that we're used to seeing in the Arizona market, those games would not happen. So there would still be a piece of spring training left with players around potentially, but the public part of it, the part that fans enjoy so much, it appears that part would actually not happen at all until this thing gets done. So some of those days are drawing closer, Derek, and I think you're right. The owners are taking advantage of that, and they're leveraging that in these negotiations.
Exactly. It feels like both sides kind of wanted that pressure to be put on the other side, but who's really being affected here, and who's going to feel that pressure? Who is going to be seen as being greedy, and who is going to get that taken out on, right? Like owners are already seen as being greedy, no matter what, right? But the players are the people that are on the field and the face of baseball. They're the ones people root for. They're the ones people buy jerseys and cards and pops and all this other stuff of, right? Like that's the problem here, is that as ugly as this gets, owners still get to hide away in their owner's box and not really have to face the public the same way that the players and the manager and people that are on the team do, right? And that really is it. And I mean, again, it when the players are making all of this money, it's easy to make them also look greedy, when really what they're trying to look out for are the players that don't get that same cut of the pie that some of the guys that make the money get. Some of those guys that, even when they're really good, are still restricted and are tied down by that rookie deal that they got, and still being under that first couple of years contract and all of that kind of stuff. They're really just trying to make it better for those guys, and honestly make it worth their time to be some of the best players in the game, right? It's in some cases, it's not worth it for them to even step up and start showing what they can do until their contract year, perhaps, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a weird situation with baseball where you're not really giving your new breakout stars an opportunity to make as much money as they are essentially making the game, right? I mean, some of these guys are incredible in their rookie season and in their sophomore season, and there's no compensation for them all of a sudden being a league leader in home runs or strikeouts or any of those kind of categories, or especially WAR, right? That's something I almost base my entire fixing the D-backs segment on later, but it's a very important stat, and something that a lot of people believe in. By the way, Josh Hunt writes, did you guys see the 9 outreach program for the minor league system? And yes, I did. And we are going to talk about that this week. It's a Black community focused outreach program. And I think it's something spectacular. It's one of the good things that major league, minor leagues are doing to try to expand the game. But all of that is for naught if it continues to drag on with this whole situation, which shouldn't surprise us. I mean, are you surprised at all by the fact that there's still no deal done?
Oh, heck no.
Considering
heck
no, Mr. January 28th. No.
Well, okay. So truth be told,
Mm-hmm.
oh gosh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the day has passed, I can stop being obnoxiously irrationally confident about it.
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
can
Thank
go
you.
full disclosure with people, and I can acknowledge that it's been I'm pretty sure that a week after I made that prediction, I was like, there's no way. There's just no, it's just impossible. There's no way this is gonna happen. So I felt that way deep down I felt that way for a long time, Derek. And I'm gonna wager that you probably feel that way right now about February 14th. I think we were both a little bit bullish on this.
I really think February 14th was more of me being hopeful, right? I think that February 14th in my mind was the last chance for it to not impact the season. I know that for me, February 14th, me and my wife always kind of joke about it, but that's like our, like we celebrate Valentine's Day as if I'm going off to war, you know. She'll be like, all right, well, I'll see you in September, you know, because this is the start of me disappearing from my house for, especially when I had 2 jobs, you know, I'd work 16 to 20 hour days sometimes, as ridiculous as that sounds, but I really would. So I'd be at the office and then I would be at the ballpark right after that. And that would be my entire day. So yeah, I mean, I'm used to this time of the year being the time where I am ready to start smelling that grass and be out there watching the pitchers and catchers report and having them look at me and wonder who I am and what I'm doing there, taking pictures of them. And, you know, it's a great time. I just, in my mind, knew that if a deal did not get done by February 14th, the season's going to be impacted in some way. There's no stopping it from being impacted at that point, because that's the length of time it takes for them to get prepped and ready and to get the season underway. So we're at that point now, ladies and gentlemen, where we are going to experience a delay. And Jeff Passan's tweet not only confirms that, but really puts a dark and gloomy cloud over the situation, because his tweet makes it feel more like we're not just losing spring training. This is going to be possibly a lengthy delay that is going to rob us of a lot of our favorite time of the year. Like I said, spring training is my favorite time of the year. I love the baseball season.
Is really great,
but spring training, especially here in Arizona, is just wonderful. And I'm kind of bummed out about that. So hopefully some miraculous thing happens and these two sides can see eye to eye. My solution, again, Scott Boras. Another idea, Celebrity Big Brother is starting. So I say, again, to get ratings, we lock them in the house together. They can't leave. And they have to negotiate and work the deal out. And they will vote. We'll vote them out. Like it can be like an audience voting thing out. We'll vote them out one by one.
Sure.
And that big table in the middle of the Big Brother dining room, you know, like throughout the season, it gets smaller. We'll just do that over the course of 1 week. Like they come out the next day, table's smaller because there's less of you now. And we're going to keep voting you out until you make a deal. And then it'll be nobody but Scott Boras and Rob Manfred together at a very tiny table in an uncomfortable room.
We should just have them duel. Like at some point, I mean, this is how they solved these types of issues in ancient times.
Oh, I'm with it. I'm with Hamilton. Hamilton. Come on.
Oh yeah. We could have a resolution really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because you know there's the rules, there's the 10 steps or the 10 commandments, and then of course right, and then they have to have, you know, they'll have an advisor who comes and negotiates on their behalf. Like that's how you get a deal done. When you have like Rob Manfred on that side and like I don't know, Max Scherzer on the other, who's shooting at each other, I don't know, but Players Association on one side, MLB on the other, and I don't know. Let's get the deal done before someone dies. That's what I say. Speaking of which, if these kind of mad ramblings appeal to you, you got to go over to gophnx.com. Jesse has a brand new article we're going to talk about a little bit later, but go over there, sign up to become a member, and get an annual membership, and you will get a free t-shirt over at the PHNX locker. Be like our friend Josh Hunt in our comments. Get yourself or have somebody get you a membership for an anniversary, birthday,
That's
whatever.
really the way to do it.
That's the way to go, right?
Make it so clear to someone in your life that you are just obsessed with
Yeah,
PHNX.
that this is what you
And
want. This is all you
at
want.
some point, they're going to be like, wow, I mean, I could get, my boyfriend or whoever it is, my husband, whoever it is, I could get them a lot of stuff, but like, this is the thing they're going to enjoy the most. So
Correct.
there you go. It's nice and
Yeah.
simple.
I know it's a simple, like, not only am I getting him a membership, I'm getting him a t-shirt on top of that. Look at
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah.
The DMs made my heart flutter to think of somebody loving me that much to get me a membership to go phnx.com and then asking me and giving me the shirt. She could have kept the shirt for herself. He would have never known.
True.
She could have easily done that, and she didn't. And he chose this podcast of all shirts to get. So again, shout out to Josh Hunt. We thank you so much. And you can be like Josh by signing up to be a member over at gophnx.com, or you can get the annual month-to-month membership. If you don't get the annual one, you get your first month for just 50 cents. That's again, another great deal. And once you decide that you like it, you can come back and join us this whole time. But Jesse, we talk about your article. Obviously, you've proposed a question out there, but let's talk about what you have been up to in your writings that took longer than necessary to post to our website.
Yeah, this one took a while for me to kind of put together exactly where I was going with this, but yeah, I think it's pretty fun.
It was a good time. It was a good month. It was a good month, Jesse. I don't care what anybody remembers about the 2021 season, but man, if you were around for April, you can understand why
it was great.
Those of us that were so confused as to what happened in May and beyond.
Yeah. The article is basically looking back on April of last year, which I'm guessing a lot of people have completely forgotten about because we all think 52 wins when we think of the 2021 Arizona Diamondbacks. But they were actually pretty good for a little while there. They were 14-12 in the month of April. They were tied with the Reds, as we talked about the other day, with the most runs scored in baseball as of the end of April. And they were also, what was really interesting is they were tied for the league lead in defensive runs saved after April. And of course, we've talked at length at how much their defense was an issue down the stretch. That wasn't the case at the beginning of the season. So suffice it to say, a lot of things went right in the month of April that very quickly spiraled after that, right? But my idea for my story was, hey, let's forget about May and June and July and August and September. Let's forget about all of the trouble that the Diamondbacks brought us last season, and let's just focus on April. Let's just live in that world for a little bit. And yeah, it was fun. I just kind of look back on that month and some of the crazy things that were happening in Diamondbacks land. Carson Kelly was knocking the cover off the ball.
It was
there were some other fun things happening too. Yeah, it was an unreal start for him. He was really the highlight for me.
He was hitting like 3 something, right? At some point, like 325 or something like that.
It was over. I think it was like 340, but his on base percentage was over 500, and he was slugging over 700.
God.
He had way more walks than strikeouts. It was an incredible start, and he had a good season overall. But the months after that for Carson Kelly were a significant move in the opposite direction.
But that's the thing is that he also got substantially injured a couple of times throughout the season. I mean, you can be on a roll when you're healthy, but it's just hard to get back to where you were at. Right. Especially, obviously you're limited by the injury, but I think that there's got to be a point where you're frustrated that you're not as good as you were. You know what I mean? I know how I am after I don't play Call of Duty for 3 months, Jesse. And when I hop on there, I'm rusty. I'm bad. I die a lot, and I don't want to play the game
anymore. You're right, Derek. The Carson Kelly struggles coming back from injury is just like when you don't play Call of Duty.
Like when I don't play Call of Duty. Hey, video gamers out there will understand where I'm coming from on that one. But no, I'm just saying it is
true. It is true.
When you stop doing something that you might have been really good at one point, and then you take a hiatus from it due to injury, due to whatever reason, right? And you come back to it. It's frustrating when you're not as good as you were. And I feel like, again, it only causes sometimes you to press even more, which doesn't help. And then you start getting More,
Yeah.
like the frustrations, especially with baseball, just kind of build. At times, you can't stop hitting the ball. It's like golf is another one of those games where sometimes where you get keyed in on golf, you can just be incredible, no matter who you are. Normal person,
Sure.
you can be just locked in, and then you come back to play the very next weekend and you're terrible all over again, right? And that's the part of games like that, like, batting in a box and golf and those kind of
Yeah.
things that are about your swing and your timing and being locked in for a period of time and then not, or just losing it, just, losing the ability to do something that a week ago it seemed effortless, like you couldn't stop hitting the ball, like I
Sure.
watch old clips of Barry Bonds and it seems like he's hitting a goddamn beach ball with a tennis racket. Like, you can't pitch anywhere close to Barry Bonds and not have him hit the ball. It was stupid. He would swing so far out of the strike zone and still hit the ball. And again, like watching someone of his hitting prowess hit, you just like, I can only imagine being that good at the game of baseball, right? And
Yeah.
the bitch about it is that you are for very small period. You have those flashes where like a day or a week, you're outstanding, and it's the ones that put it together consistently for a long period of time. Those are the ones that end up being the great players, right? But
Yeah.
like I can only imagine, just even if you're not injured, how losing
Right.
that touch, and again, like what the Diamondbacks went through this season, it I can only imagine after the start in April that they had, how frustrating it was for things to go as south as it did, and then just again
Yeah.
constantly trying to do everything you can to be like, no, there's no way, like there's no way we're going to lose a historic amount of games, there's no way we're going to set a franchise record, and so every time you go out there you're pressing that much harder to not lose the game, and you're just losing the games that much more because baseball's like that. You can't just go out
Yeah.
there and demand success and create it out of nowhere. It's got to be the right kind of, headspace, and they
Yeah.
definitely were not in it after April.
I remember Jake Lamb was kind of the same way in that he would start the season really, really well, and not necessarily due to injury, but he would just kind of fade down the stretch. That's something that we see with certain players, and I think it's something we've kind of seen with Carson Kelly to a certain degree. I think he's kind of tended to start out of the gate really, really well, and then kind of fade toward the end of the season. So
Yep.
last year, definitely an injury, I'm sure, played a role there, but be interesting to see if he can be more consistent this year.
Motion in our comments says, looks like the Aces are going to be the 2022 Diamondbacks at this rate, and he's 100% right about that. And I'm okay with it. I'm with it. So whatever we need to do to have some good players up here, and especially with how high the 7 players we talked about yesterday are ranked with Keith Law's system, it's a lot
Yeah.
of players, and it's good to see that many that are close and around that same time frame.
Yeah. Hey, Alec Thomas isn't on the 40 man. So we'd still have, Diamondbacks would still have Alec Thomas, even if,
Mm,
there's no
yeah.
there's no guys from the 40 man
So what you're
roster. So
saying
there you go.
is go watch spring training is what you're
There you go. There you go.
you're gonna have a
Although,
good
yeah,
time.
I don't know what it'll look like. I don't think that if the lockout is still going, I don't think you'd be able to attend games. I don't know if you'd even be able to go over there as a fan just to watch some guys work out. It's a pretty bizarre scenario. So we'll have to see what that looks like. If it happens, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Jesse, we have a new sponsor, by the way, which I want to give a shout out to.
Yes.
We are now sponsoring with Athletic Greens, and here's a really weird coincidental kind of thing. When I got back from DC, I was given some of this product from our sponsor, from the fine folks
Oh,
at PHNX, and
sure.
I be coming back from having the stomach flu and then finding out I had COVID really sucked, and I wasn't really able to start taking something especially like this that I thought was going to kind of like mess with my system, because it's it's vitamins, it's minerals, it's whole food source superfoods, it's
Sure.
probiotics, and it's just things that I was a bit hesitant to start taking, and then I got to a point where I didn't really have anything in my house left to drink that wasn't alcohol because I wasn't drinking alcohol, and I had drank pretty much all of like our liquids that I could drink. So I started taking Athletic Greens, and it's really weird. I am a big time, like, I have issues with my esophagus, and I take a lot of Tums, like a lot of acid reducers and things like
acids,
that. And it's weird because as obviously being a sponsor, I want to say good things about this company, but I really, from personal experience, have nothing but amazing things to say about them, because I haven't been taking like heartburn reducers and such since I've been taking this. And it's over the course of the last week, it's kind of become part of my daily routine. And I honestly have nothing but really good things to say about this. Now, I am a pretty unhealthy person, so I'll say that. Like, I drink energy drinks, I drink pre-workout supplements on empty stomachs. I typically drink things and do things that probably I shouldn't, or I don't take it the right way. And this is a fantastic product, and I know a lot of people have heard about it lately. I know it's kind of been kind of popping up everywhere, but honestly, the idea of being able to take one scoop of something and drink it and be done with like my supplements and my vitamins, and especially like my wife is dieting right now. She has to take a number of greens every day, and it, like, the one scoop satisfies that number of greens that she needs to take for this diet. So very quickly, Athletic Greens has become a part of our lives here at the Montilla household. So right now they're giving you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com, go for the Diamondbacks. And again, it's athleticgreens.com. So just use code Diamondbacks and take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And Jesse, I'm going to get you some, because I'm telling you,
please do.
It's, I don't know. Like I said, I've had issues with a lot of stomach stuff, and I don't really take great care of myself. I go to my doctor and I talk to him about everything except like the daily ailment that I have all the time. Like, oh, everything good? Yeah, I mean, I have heartburn every day, but like, yeah, no big deal. And again, honestly, I've been taking this stuff for a week, and I haven't been using my normal like Pepsid acid reducers, any of that stuff. So like, I'm all about it, because if I can take something that's not chemicals, it's definitely better, right? So go check out Athletic Greens for sure. And I am going
vitamin D. Is there vitamin D? Is that one of the things that you mentioned?
Vitamin D, yeah, that's I think one of the freebies that they add on.
I could use some of that, Derek, because the sun doesn't come out in the Pacific Northwest ever. So I actually need to get that probably as soon as possible, because I have had there are a number of people in my life who insist that I start taking vitamin D. Otherwise, they're convinced I'm just gonna like shrivel up into a raisin.
We are going to get you so much sun when we're going to get you so tan when you move to Phoenix.
I'm just going to burn.
Yeah. Well, remember the other day we talked about fixing the Arizona Diamondbacks, Jesse, and we kind of pretended like we were multi-billionaire Bitcoin guys that like maybe have 1 year left to see the Diamondbacks do some things. Well, I'm going to take a stab tonight at fixing the Arizona Diamondbacks.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna fix them in one.
I am going to fix them in one evening with 3 guys. That's all it's going to take, Jesse.
Wow,
is 3 guys. I'm going to spend a lot of money on those 3 guys, but we're gonna take a stab at it. Now, we chose to go in 2 different directions. We're going to talk on Thursday about your ideas on some trades that you would make in order to fix the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I am going to do what billionaires with no responsibilities do, and I'm going to throw money at it. I'm going to throw money at the problem. The lockout is going to end, Jesse, and I am going to take my newly acquired Arizona Diamondbacks team, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to throw $160 million over 6 years at Chris Bryant.
Wow.
And I'm going to
that explains the cover photo then.
That is the cover photo. Now, I need Chris Bryant in my life. Here's why, right? First, to obviously get him off the San Francisco Giants. That's a priority. We need him to not be on the Giants or the Dodgers or the Padres. So that it's almost a defensive move as far as trying to get him away from other teams in the NL West. The other thing is, obviously, he is one of the most effective as far as WAR is concerned, as free agents available on the market. And that's my focus, is bringing in players that are going to add wins to this team. Chris Bryant is still 30 years old. So as far as I'm concerned, a veteran 36-year-old Chris Bryant still on this team, mashing the ball next to the likes of Alec Thomas and Christian Robinson and Corbin Carroll is a fantastic idea and doesn't seem that far-fetched, considering he seems like a pretty good athlete that's going to have a long career. I don't doubt that Chris Bryant will still have a good baseball career into his mid-30s. So I don't mind that. I'm making sure that none of the guys that I'm throwing money at are over 30, because that's a critical part of this plan. Is I'm essentially creating, to a degree, a new core with Ketel Marte, Carson Kelly, and Zach Gallen, right? And these guys are all critical to that. So now that I've solved the third base problem, I'm going to solve right field. I don't feel like we necessarily need to fill every positional need, which at this point consists of the starting rotation, third base, center field, right field. So I am allowing for still some flexibility as far as what we're going to do in the close future. Maybe Alec Thomas comes up. Maybe we fill it with, one of the young players, right? But in right field, we're putting Nick Castellanos, right?
You just went to like top free agents and found the most.
I did not Google top free agents. I told you I have a plan. Now, Chris Bryant has a secondary reason, right? Everybody from Chicago loves him. And if you're a Phoenician, you know that Phoenix is little Chicago. We have a lot of Chicago transplants. We have a lot of Chicago restaurants and eateries. There is a large population of people here that are fans, and they stay fans. Chicago Cubs fans, especially when you win a World Series for their team and end a century long, curse, you are forever endeared to them. So Chris Bryant being on this team is going to attract new fans to this team, which Nick Castellanos will also do, right? There's the whole joke, with the fly ball, Nick Castellanos, right? But more importantly, I've told you in the past, it's his relationship with Joe Mather, right? I think if you got Nick Castellanos, who's already a part of Joe Mather's system and has completely bought into what Joe Mather is doing, I think other people will buy in too, because obviously he's had success. And with him being here as a leader on the team, I think that impacts the rest of the team. I'm not just throwing money at top free agents. I'm throwing money where the money will be effective. I'm thinking these are moves that will not only bring these guys to the team, obviously top right fielder, top third baseman, right? But if the Diamondbacks want to make moves and they want to do something, this is something. And this isn't just throwing money at guys that aren't talented. These are guys that have proven over the years that they are really good baseball players. And then I'm stealing Carlos Rodon from the Chicago White Sox, and I'm giving him all the money that he wants. 5 years, $75 million. A young player, fantastic piece of the rotation. And honestly, there's my 1-2 punch with him and Zach Gallen, with Madison Bumgarner being moved down lower in the rotation, but still there and still effective, because I think Brent Strom is going to get something out of Madison Bumgarner that we haven't seen yet of Mad Bum in a Diamondbacks jersey, right? Okay. So that's it. Now, yes, that's going to cost you $300 and
what's the damage, Derek?
$350 million is what that's going to cost you over the next 5 to 6 years. But I don't feel like that's that ridiculous compared to what the Texas Rangers spent. And I don't know if these guys would actually go for this, or if they're going to go for more on the market. The market's going to be crazy once it opens back up. And I think with the expedited time frame, I think teams are going to go crazy, and they're going to make decisions that they wouldn't normally make. It also means that players could find themselves in a position where they're not picked up and might have to settle for less than they want. Nick Castellanos hitting deep fly balls to left field at Chase Field sounds good. Yes, sir. But yes, that's my idea. Now, that's not it though, Jesse. That's not it, because I'm going to pair that with changing the jerseys back to purple and teal. I'm going to do this all at once.
Now you fixed the problem.
I'm going to do this. Now, okay, here's the thing. And when we introduce these three guys, they're going to be introduced at the same time, and they're going to all be in the purple and teal jerseys. And I'm doing this because this is what I want to send as a message, not only a unity thing where we're not going to have these guys all like, we're doing this like almost like Miami Heat style with LeBron James back in the day, lasers and smoke show and stuff. I'm going to get people excited about it, but I'm going to bring people back to the Chase Field. I'm going to bring people back with affordable ticket packages. I'm going to bring back quality eateries. Put me in charge of this team. Give me all the money, and I will make you more money. That's the way that this works. You got to spend money to make money, that kind of deal, right? So that's what I'm proposing. Will it work? I don't know, Jesse. I don't know.
People would go crazy over the purple and teal. You'd attract a lot of fans just by virtue of that decision.
But you mean to tell me that it wouldn't cause like the ultimate stir? Like let's say even if you added two of these three guys, you mean to tell me people wouldn't be excited and rejuvenated? I feel like excited, at times they think that it's a matter of, people losing interest in the team or something. No, it's that you're not providing them with an exciting product, and you can make all the fancy commercials. You can put up graphics. You can choose whoever you want to be your new face of the team, right? To put David Peralta up on the poster, Ketel Marte, it doesn't matter. It's not whether or not those guys like attract people. It's the fact that people know this team isn't good and they're not coming out to see them because they don't feel like you're trying to put a good team on the field. It's a very transparent feeling. So anyway, that's all I got. We've gone on for way too long, but I'm going to fix the Diamondbacks, Jesse. I'm telling you. You can find out more over at gophnx.com. Obviously, if you haven't signed up to become a member, do that. Most importantly, go to DraftKings Sportsbook, use our code of PHNX, and get down on this Super Bowl 56 action. You can get 56-1 odds, which are just ridiculous, and you'll get yourself that
is ridiculous.
For getting $5, Jesse, you'll get $280 in free bets right now using our code of PHNX. And if you aren't a new member, obviously you can do what I'm going to do during Super Bowl weekend, and I'm going to combine multiple bets for a same game and a same game parlay. I can't wait to see what the options are once you open up that same game parlay menu and see what crazy things. I'm more looking forward to like mascot sightings, coin tosses. I want the ridiculous stuff. Give me
Can
the
you
prop
bet
bets
on
in
like
there.
the halftime show? There's got to be like
I don't know yet.
halftime
I don't know.
component.
I hope there. I bet on the Royal Rumble last weekend, Jesse. So I mean, you can pretty much bet on a lot of things on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But remember, it is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit, withdraw your cash whenever you want, and use our promo code again if you're a new customer. PHNX over at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. 21 and over only, Arizona only. Gambling problem, dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And that's all I got. Thank you guys again so much for checking out the show. We appreciate you guys being here in the comments with us. Again, happy anniversary to Josh Hunt and his fantastic wife for getting him that membership. You can get yourself a membership. Get your wife to get you one. If not, if you're our wife, get your spouse to get you one. Whatever. Get somebody to buy you one or buy yourself one over at gophnx.com. And you'll get that free t-shirt. If you already have a membership and you just want another t-shirt, my wife will not stop bothering me about the Booker lowrider shirt. She keeps bringing it up to me in the most casual way. She's like, "Hey, did you get that shirt? Hey, I was going to go to the Suns game next weekend. Did you have that shirt?" So I think she's getting that shirt for Valentine's Day. But of course, you can buy your significant other a fantastic shirt over at phnxlocker.com for this Valentine's Day, when we're going to have the MLB lockout end, Jesse, because February 14th is the day. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Like I said, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, sign up for our notifications. That way you don't miss any of the wonderful content coming out from the PHNX team. We have some amazing announcements coming this week, so I hope you guys are excited about that. Shout out to our new PHNX Sun Devils crew over at the ASU. If you're listening right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. And please leave us a 5-star review. We've discussed this, but Jesse is a 5-star man. This is the face of a 5-star man over here. So please drop us a 5-star review. No matter how wrong he was, he's wrong, but he has accepted it, and we love him for it. But we thank you guys again. on behalf of Jesse and myself, we appreciate you so much. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when the news about the baseball negotiations isn't so depressing.